of it at Milan's Hotel and Wine Bar. He's 8 years old. He attends Newlands Primary School at Sorby, plays for the Sorby Bridge Robins under-10 side, and his favourite player is John Schuster. And at Odsal last week, John Schuster was everybody's favourite player as far as Halifax were concerned, with the drop goal that pipped Bradford by 1 point and then 80-yard interception try that drew Halifax level. Teams this afternoon for Halifax: Amanga at full-back, Bentley, former Leeds player of course, helped Halifax to a win at Headingley earlier in the season. They're looking for the first double over Leeds for almost a decade. Schuster, Amoni and the Koku make up the three-quarter line. Brewer and Dean are half-backs. Carl Harrison, Paul Rowley and Paul Anderson in the front row. Anderson, the elbow injury not as severe as first thought last week at Odsal. Paul Harrington and Simon Baldwin in the second row. Marty Moana at loose forward. Twilanga, Gillespie, Bastian and Jackson on the bench. And with the top four virtually decided and neither of these sides in it, both will be in the Super League next season. It's a very unfamiliar Leeds looking side, but there's still a lot to play for in local Derby, Stuart.
Yes, it is. I think both sides will want to go out with a bit of pride. Halifax had a great win last week at Bradford, the only side to lower the colours at Odsal this season, which is a tremendous achievement. And Leeds, they were defeating Workington in a easy sort of victory at Headingley. Well, Leeds line up with Marcus Sindelaire at full-back, Marvin Golden, Kevin Iro, Phil Hassan, Leroy Rivet, Graham Allroyd and Gavin Brown are the halves, Jamie Field, Mick Shaw, Barry McDermott, Teddy Newton, Adrian Morley, Mike Forshaw and Anthony Gibbons, Paddy Hanley, Matt Schultz and Assini Faimalo are the substitutes. So, as Darrell said, a very strange and young looking Leeds side. There is no Gary Mercer today, he's injured. With a foot injury, Nick Fozzard, another youngster making his way. He'll be announced in the Great Britain Academy team tomorrow. He's also out with an injury today. And of course there's no David Hume, signing from Widnes earlier on in the season. He's still suffering from a shoulder injury, so a very young Leeds side, and noticeable by the fact that at least three of the side that we're playing today will be going on the academy tour to Australia. And one of them there, Gavin Brown, and another one, Teddy Newton, running the ball back. So a lot resting on a lot of young shoulders for Leeds. Good defence though from Halifax. Anderson in there, former Leeds player. Forshaw, just Leeds will be looking to, such as Mike Forshaw, to show a bit of experience, and the man will take the next drive, Barry McDermott. He'll have to work overtime today. He's had a top season for Leeds, finally settled down into the sort of form that persuaded Dean Bell to sign him from Wigan. And Teddy Newton again taking the drive, only 17 years of age and an outstanding prospect. So Leeds have got up to the 20-metre mark, and a kick from Graham Holroyd goes up into the Halifax 20 metres to be picked up by Abia Koku.
Koku sets off back towards the Leeds defence, one of the top yardage makers in Super League this season. Got himself a regular place, no Graham Alice this afternoon. And Leeds up quickly. Paul Heighton, another one of the youngsters on the field this afternoon, plenty of them making their way in Super League. Good performances as well. Paul Anderson charging down the middle, back into the Leeds half. McDermott with the tackle, roll late, short ball to Harrison, trying to turn in the tackle and release the ball. Good tackling again from the liners. Brewer, could be his last match for Halifax, gets it away one-handed to Dean. Chances now for Amanga, closed down well by Phil Hassan. Craig Dean, fifth tackle, opts for the kick behind Marvin Golden into the corner. Good kick by Craig Dean. It's put Leeds back in their own quarter, and Halifax perhaps looking for an early error to putting Leeds under pressure in their own quarter of the field.
Yes, a couple of good sets of six there, just settling down, sets of six, and Leeds will look to move the ball out from the first scrum. Mike Forshaw picks it up and brings it away. So Gavin Brown goes himself from dummy half. Outstanding prospect, Brown. Steps the first man, Azer Amoni, but good cover defence coming in there from Craig Dean. Marvin Golden, quick play the ball, that's good for Leeds. Holroyd finds Iro, that's a good ball out to Iro. Iro looping round to Newton, Newton to Leroy Rivet, and Rivet's on his way up the touchline side. Comes back inside as Bentley got the better of him there. Good play there from the youngster Leroy Rivet. A very exciting prospect. Thrilled the crowds at all levels this season. Graham Holroyd running, stepping, going himself. 3 Halifax men on him. He gets the ball away to Gavin Brown. That's good play. Brown again out there to Morley. Great Britain Tourist. Lovely ball to Hassan. Hassan leads, throwing the ball about. Hassan stepping inside a couple of men and takes 3 or 4 Halifax men eventually to bring him down. The 2 that lay on the tackle of the Koku. And the ball high kick coming under. Bentley's underneath it. And Bentley's gone over his own line. He's lost the football. And one of those mistakes down the lane that John Bentley been prone to throughout his career. Great exciting player, but always likely to do that.
Well, yeah, but Amanga had got back in position, and it's always the full-back's ball, no matter what. There should have been a clear call from somebody. Both men must have been able to see each other. But it was John Bentley who made the error. He should have left it for Amanga, and it's put Halifax under pressure with a drop-out from under the post.
Well, Halifax a drop out with Simon Baldwin. Graham Shaw, the referee, signals the game to go. Leroy Rivet catches the ball on a bounce, and you lay the Leeds supporters in the crowd cheering Leroy Rivet to the hilt. Very popular player in only his first season at the club. Jamie Field, another one who will be on the academy tour when it's announced tomorrow. Holroyd, Gavin Brown looks for the run round there. Holroyd passing back there, finds Morley's a gap there for Adrian Morley. Morley's got Phil Sam with him, tries to take on the full-back, but that's a great tackle from Amanga. Brown now, Leeds looking to move the ball. Brown spots a gap, goes himself, dodging, weaving near the line. Looked to offload, couldn't get the ball away. Still going there, Gavin Brown, that's good play. Shaw darts him underneath the post. He's held up just a metre short. Brown then in at acting half-back. Leeds will spin the ball to the left. Out to Holroyd. Holroyd stepping, going himself. Puts a little rubber kick over the line. That's for Mike Forshaw, and that's going to be a try to Leeds. The first try of the game then to the Loiners. Good play from the Leeds, keeping the ball around. And Mike Forshaw manages to get over. A lovely kick there from Graham Holroyd. Mike Forshaw it is who puts Leeds on the board. So just the sort of start that Leeds will have wanted. And Mike Forshaw it is then. He goes over for the try. So Holroyd has his kick, he's brought it back, it's about 12 metres in from touch. 84 goals from 110 attempts this season, Graham Holroyd. Kicking about 72% accuracy. And Holroyd will line it up now, it's left-footed. Spins around, it's there, he's through the middle. You'll hear that from the cheers of the crowd. So Leeds 6. Halifax 0. So a good start then for the Liners. That's just the sort of start they wanted. Adrian Morley's break was very important in that. Nice ball from Holroyd, putting him in. So Leeds will kick off and they'll look to kick deep and up to contain Halifax up here. That's one of the best victories of a disappointing season for Leeds came here in the Challenge Cup. Sides have changed a lot since then.
Baldwin from on his own try line. Good run out to the 20. Converted into the second row. Moana to Anderson. Plenty of attention for Anderson, but it was a 2-man tackle. Anderson still has Morley on top of him. Not only, well, in fact it's Hassan, but not only was it a 2-man tackle, but one of them was illegal. Anderson, not surprisingly, losing the ball. Still looking a little bit shaken. As Baldwin clears the ball over the gantry. Halifax want to get it back into play quickly. Harrison taking the ball from Rowley, making it back into Leeds territory. Heighton inside. Adrian Morley managing to keep hold of him. Moana switches, Dean using the short side of Manga into the line. Almost stepping around Hassan, another good tackle. Rowley quickly from acting half. Confusion reigns again. This time in attack for Halifax. Asaramona left it for Abi Akoko. But Amone forgot to pass the message on first, and the ball sailing past Akoko at a difficult angle on the floor, straight into touch to give Leeds the possession back.
So Leeds moving the ball out quickly from the scrum. Gavin Brown finds Hassan. Hassan knocking men off as he makes a good 10 metres from the scrum. And Harrison and McShaw having a Little tete-a-tete there. And didn't see what happened there on the penalty, but something had happened in back play. The scrum had broke up and just nothing sort of a skirmish. Looking at the replay, the touch judge Tony Brown's on at this side talking to Graham Shaw, and I'm sure Graham Shaw, I don't recall having a Super League game before, but he's a referee of high promise. I'm sure he'll be grateful for the fact that Tony Brown, very experienced, is on that side. So both culprits called out. Mick Shaw was about 3'2", and Carl Harrison, who looks about 9'6", at the side of him there, and each blaming the other one. And Harrison certainly got a lot to say, and Mick Shaw with the scrum cap on, he'll be keen for a good game today. He's a Halifax lad, played with Siddle, of course. And Leeds will get the penalty. And Graham Holroyd kicks up onto the roof of the stand. Well, Leeds were all offside when that penalty kick was taken. The referees allowed advantage there for Leeds when really he ought to have been blowing up. Jamie Field had overrun the penalty. Great tackle there from Hazen Amoni on Jamie Field. Gavin Brownling at first receiver, just a long looping ball out there. Picked up by Forshaw. Forshaw's ball for Newton. Newton's dropped the ball. It was a forward pass anyway, and Mike Forshaw would have been better holding on to that and taking the tackle. So Leeds at 6s and 7s and not making the most of what should have been a good set of 6 for them.
Well, the first 10 minutes, and it's really turned into a derby encounter. Plenty of passing shown, especially that last tackle from Amoni. Referee's going to have to get control of it. Amanga throwing the dummy. Almost up to halfway. Amoni from acting half. Hassan quickly answering from the marking position. And Forshaw hanging on to Amoni a little bit longer than he should have done. Gives Halifax the penalty. And it'll be Baldwin again with the responsibility of putting the ball into touch, which he does, and sets Halifax up in a good position on the Leeds 20. Anderson with the first charge into 3, makes it to within 10 of the try line. The Leeds man still down on the floor. Harrison running back across, and Jamie Field was down on the floor again. He looked injured, but he got up when Harrison ran towards him. Dean, Moana switches play again to this top side. Dean to Brewer. Brewer will look to get the pass away the first time. He did on the second. Amanga to Okoku. Lots of strength, but not enough to get through Morley and Goulden. Dean trying to carve an opening in the Leeds defence. Gets it back to Harrison. Harrison to Moana. And that ball being treated like hot potato as far as Halifax are concerned. Long pass from Anderson. Schuster quickly away to Baldwin. 2-1 on the bottom side. Leeds getting back somehow. Bentley comes inside. It comes off a Leeds hand. The bounce was fortunate. It went back to the Leeds player, but it was a knock on. But credit to the Leeds defence there. Bentley looked as though he may have created an opening on that far side, but the Leeds defence doing very well to get across to it.
Yes, I thought John Bentley would have taken the Leeds defence. There was only Gavin Brown there on the outside. But that's going to be the first try to Halifax. Leeds have finally paid the penalty for some poor play there of dropping the football, and then Teddy Newton not being able to intercept cleanly. And defence coming away. Great play there from number 6. It was Martin Moana from the base of the scrum, and then Craig Dean went over for the try. So really, Leeds are no worst enemies there. They were penalised when Barry McDermott was involved in the skirmish. So penalised again for Mike Forshaw holding down. They seemed to have weathered the storm, but on the 5th tackle they gave away a knock-on, and Halifax paying full toll there. So good try from Halifax, and I'm sure they'll be delighted with that.
And leading up to that try, there must have been 14 or 15 passes prior to the scrum. The end result was Halifax 4, Schuster another 2 on 13 minutes, brings the scores level at 6 points all. And it will be Amanga who will bring the ball back to the centre line. And Leeds will find themselves in their own quarter of the field with the ball from the kick-off.
So, disappointing for Leeds, who looked well in the first few minutes, but again the old failings of lack of ball control and penalties cost them dear. Until Newton comes running out from defence. Learned a lot in a short time, Newton. Well, that's got to be a penalty there. Brewer holding down. And Leeds will be happy with the penalty. They'll be hoping they can make better than they did from the previous one when they lost the ball. Forward pass from Forshaw being adjudged. And Mick Shaw taps the football and Jamie Field just drives forward, makes a good 10 metres. Up to halfway. Brown in acting half. McDermott, short pass for McDermott. Straight through Harrison. That's good play there. And McDermott, another 10 metres made by Leeds. So 10 metres inside the Fax half of the field. Holroyd will look to find Mike Forshaw outside. Inside ball is for Morley. That's the route that brought the first try for Leeds, and Adrian Morley up this right-hand touchline side. Gavin Brown, lovely ball skills. Forshaw just decides to take the tackle. That's good play. Mick Shaw scoots from acting half back. And Leeds at 8 metres from the line and on the last tackle. Gavin Brown, what a class player he's going to be. A long spinning ball is out for Holroyd. Holroyd, will he put the kick in again? He's running, he's stepping himself. Finds Morley. Morley puts the ball down. Not the best pass from Holroyd, but Leeds trying to keep it alive on the last tackle. And Holroyd's taking a bang in the tackle.
Well, Leeds down to a 12-man defence. Amanga brings it away. Halifax decisive on that occasion, not allowing Holroyd the space to put in the kick, forcing the play. And Holroyd suffering as a consequence. But Halifax back up towards halfway. Short ball from Dean to Harrison. Halifax looking to play it quickly. Dean with Anderson off his shoulder. Well tackled by Forshaw. Big man to put down, Paul Anderson. Brewer, great dummy. Well, he's got the pass away. Dean clears up for Halifax after it went to ground. And Dean's looking for a way through. Well, Brewer was shouting his instructions to Amode. Leeds defence closed in. Halifax back towards that bottom side again. Bentley puts it back inside. Schuster picks it up one-handed, steps away from the first tackle, gets it to Dean. Dean with a crossfield kick, panicking the Leeds defence. Well, it looked close to that line. It came off a Leeds player. It'll be a drop out under the post. Well, it was a perfect little kick from Dean, and I think if there's been a Halifax player a little bit more alert to the situation, they may have had a try, but Leeds managing somehow to scramble it dead behind their own ball, behind their own touch line, in goal line, dead ball line. Brewer takes it from the dropout. Halifax players prepared to watch him take the first run back towards the Leeds defence. Okoku in the centre position. Tried to use his considerable size against three. Loses it. It'll be a knock on. Well, perhaps Okoku should have been satisfied by taking the tackle. Carl Harrison there pointing out it was only the second tackle, and Okoku should have been content to go down with 3 Leeds players in attention.
So Holroyd's kick then, and the Halifax players just shouting for McDermott. And Leeds can't get the ball in correctly at all at these penalties, and what should have been a run for Barry McDermott turns out to be a 10 metre run from Jamie Field. So short one off the ruck comes McDermott now up the middle of the field. Great run there, straight through Moana, but he gets him at the second attempt. Mick Shaw scoots, goes himself, dances, looks for the opening, gets the ball back to Marvin Golden. And wasted pass from Leeds there. Golden slipping as he got the football. And Hassan will go from dummy half. Will just take play up and ducks under the swinging arm of Harrison. Shaw again going himself from acting half. That's 4-5 tackles gone, and Leeds are on the 20 metres. They haven't put anything together in this set of 6. It's up now to Holroyd. Holroyd on the last tackle finds Gavin Brown. Brown running inside ball for Tony Newton. Newton heading for the line, is he? Gets the ball back to Forshaw. That's going to be another try to Mike Forshaw and another try to Leeds. Lovely pass out of the tackle from 17-year-old Tony Newton. And the Leeds youngsters might be inexperienced, but they're certainly not letting anyone down this afternoon. tried a foreshore but cleared it exclusively there from Terry Newton. What a great pass out of the tackle, a lovely ball from Gavin Brown and the Leeds youngsters at the moment, in the first 20 minutes or so of this game, coming of age. So Holroyd with this kick, then it's in front of the post. If he kicks it, it will give Leeds a 12 points to 6 lead. Successful. So Leeds 12, Halifax 6.
Well, Halifax left wanting again on the last tackle by their own line. Newton should have been put down. As Stuart said earlier, that Leeds will be looking to the experience of Foreshore. Well, he's not doing badly so far. 2 tries in the first 20 minutes. Very experienced player. Came to Leeds from Wigan via Wakefield. Once a target of Halifax, I believe, but then again, who isn't when they become available. Ball going back to the 20. Moana to Anderson. Hassan upstairs with a good tackle on the big Halifax prop. Asaramone. Hassan again round him, this time with Golden. And Field all over Asaramone. Harrison. Good pass from Dean, but it's good tackling from Morley and Shaw. Rowley to Brewer. Brewer taken out high by Morley. Just inside the Leeds half. And Baldwin will again kick the ball, but nowhere near the touchline. And Holroyd will try and set up the counter-attack for Leeds.
So bad mistake from Halifax there, and that's let Leeds off the hook. Whilst the tackle didn't look that bad at all. Terry Newton looks to try and burst his way through John Schuster and Martin Moana. And Foreshore, 2 tries scored. Of course, he scored the 2 tries which put Leeds in front at Wigan before Wigan decided that they'd start playing and give Leeds a good hiding. So Mick Shaw then, that tin half, finds Barry McDermott, first receiver. Whoa, and a pass out of the tackle which Hassan wasn't expecting, and that's cost Leeds dear. They've surrendered possession. That'll be a Coco now.
Well, you'd think there was big money running on this one, and there were 5 minutes to go the way the ball's being thrown about. Plenty of errors with the stray passes as Amanga tries to drop one out the back. Schuster has time to pick it up. Bentley cuts inside, he's going backwards. Played it up for Halifax between them, Schuster and Bentley, but they've not made any ground. Harrison off the short ball, fires one to Amanga, the gap's there in front of him. Strength to go past the leg. Well, all the time in the world for Mike Amanga. And it looked as though Bentley had the opportunity on the far side again. But the Leeds defence got there, he came back inside. Harrison took on the first drive, released the ball, and Amanga looked up and saw a gaping hole in the Leeds defence. Marcus Hilaire tried to close him down, but Amanga had the strength and the power to go over to bring Halifax back within 2 points at 12 points to 10. And the kick shouldn't present too much of a problem for Schuster to level the scores. Well, that try came off the stray pass just inside the Halifax half, and Halifax went the necessary metres, and Amanga left Schuster a simple conversion under the post. Back to square one, 12 points all, 24 minutes gone.
Adrian Morley having his arm strapped up, and Halifax decide to kick to the other side for Terry Newton to stop the football. He stops it with his foot, and it's again cost Leeds 10 metres at least, as Newton only gets up to the 10 metre line now. More and more players seem to be stopping the football with the foot for the fear of knocking on Leroy Rivet. And a good opening few minutes, and I haven't seen much of him since, but he's quickly up to his feet. And McShaw's knocked on there from dummy half after the break, so Leeds now putting themselves under all sorts of pressure. They failed to clear the loose ball, the poor pass from Halifax, which rolled along the floor. There's quite a few Leeds players stood watching, and they've conceded the try, and now they've put the ball down. And again, Leeds have conceded 2 tries after giving away penalties, so that's got to be a concern. And Halifax pick up the football, and Bentley's in at the corner for the try, which puts Halifax in the lead for the first time. So Leeds have proved once again that they can't cope with the scrums close to the line. That's the second try straight from the base of the scrum, and Halifax take the lead. So good try there, Devil.
Well, yeah, it's down to this pick up by Moana at the back of the scrum again, combining with Dean, who fired a pass out to Bentley. There was a vain attempt by a Leeds defender to force Bentley over the touchline. Well, it looked as though he'd already had a couple of chances, so I suppose you could say third time lucky for John Bentley on that far side, in the lead for the first time, courtesy of that Bentley try against his former team. 27 minutes on the clock, Halifax leading 16 points to 12.
So Leeds will collect the ball from Amanga's kick-off, and let's hope they made a better attempt of it than they did last time. Gavin Brown was underneath it this time, finds Sonny Newton, that's better from the kick-off. Newton bumps a man off there and gets over the 20 metres, a fist flying I think there from Harrison, which is been allowed to play on. Forshaw tackled, and again Harrison in at the tackle, so plenty of work from the big number 8, Jamie Field. And there's something gone on there in the tackle. I think it's going to be a penalty to Leeds. Jamie Field just in there, and a punch from either the Manga or from Moana or Harris or Anderson. It's Anderson who's judged to be the guilty party, and Holroyd finds touch. McShaw gets Jamie Field on the burst, and the young 19-18-year-old just Halifax in the way there, and could have easily been a sin bin offence. McDermott struggling there to get out of the tackle, held eventually, says the referee. The ball out to Brown. Brown's long passes for Holroyd. Holroyd will run himself. In fact, he gives it to Morley. Morley showing the football. Gets up, plays the ball quickly, and Gavin Brown. Marvin Golden in there. Oh, good play there from Forshaw, just stepping, going at Leeds within 10 metres. Well, they've scored before and they've been in this part of the field. Using this short side now, up the slope here with Holroyd. Holroyd's inside balls for Morley. He's put the ball down. The Halifax player couldn't take it, but the first knock-on will be the one that's adjudged, so that attack petering out for the Loiners. A good football again there, and Mav. Dean feeds out to Amone. Leeds defence moving up quickly. Forshaw dropping off the back of the scrum. Rough treatment from Hassan as well. Schuster trying to step inside, but it's good tackling. 3 Leeds defenders moving in on Schuster. Baldwin looking for the gap, put down, but making good yards back towards halfway. Long ball inside to Addison from Bentley. 3 men around Harrison. He won't go down. Roll it to Anderson. Well, McDermott stood his ground, brought Anderson down. He's having a quick look at McDermott as he gets up, kick towards Golden. Well, Halifax supporters down by the 20-metre line claiming Golden had touched that ball. Well, Tony Brown obviously agreeing. I don't think Marvin Golden did. You can't blame him for that. They'll all protest their innocence in a case like that. And Moana feeds Dean again from the back of the scrum. Brewer, quick hands to Schuster. Good tackling by Hassan. Moana seeing a gap. Moana with plenty of strength and power towards that Leeds line. He'll want to get up and play it quickly. He does to Brewer. Brewer to Amanga. Amanga has Bentley outside. But Bentley puts his foot over the touch. Leroy Rivet. Good shepherding on John Bentley there to force him over. Perhaps a little bit desperate in defence, but he did the job on that bottom touchline when it looked as Halifax were in another scoring position. And Halifax pushing before the ball and in the scrum. They'd obviously attempt to push Leeds off this scrum. And if the referee doesn't get hold, as Daryl said, we might just have a bust up in the scrum. Penalty to Leeds at the scrum. Really, that was the only way out. Halifax were pushing before the ball went in, and can't allow that to happen. Showing a reluctance to pack down cleanly. So 16-12 play, just on the half hour. Halifax have the lead. Barry McDermott has the ball in his hands for Leeds. And again, Leeds, their own worst enemies. They can't keep hold of the ball. A mistake from Marvin Golden. Now one for Barry McDermott. And Halifax have again. So Leeds certainly presenting Halifax with plenty of opportunities to put points on the board, Darryl.
Well, they are, Stuart. Perhaps it's just a lack of experience on the part of some of the Leeds youngsters. Halifax will take every opportunity they can. It's all about being professional, as Bentley slips Iro, Amanga to Okoko against Golden. Okoko fancies a run, a good tackle by Golden around the ankles. Okoko looked as though he'd lost him. Golden again, can't get hold of Amone. Linked with a move to Leeds earlier this week. Asa Amone had a tremendous season with Halifax. The only man in the blue and whites who played all Super League games this summer, despite starting the first 3 or 4 on the bench. Road mistakes are plenty again. Paul Rowley this time. Well, he's certainly not lacking experience, but perhaps thinking just one move ahead, trying to speed the play up and just nudging it forward.
Yes, certainly the game's got an end of the season feel about it. Iro just looks to break as Leeds come away with the ball from the scrum. Kevin Brown finds Forshaw in support. And Leeds, I'm sure, will just settle for 6 tackles and a kick to get Halifax away from this danger area. Terry Newton now takes the ball up, and Leeds have not had the football for a while. A crowd incensed over on the far side, and Newton had something to say there to Baldwin. McDermott still going with his back to the Halifax line and still taking men forward. Gets up quickly, plays the ball. Shaw lets the ball go through his legs, so another mistake from Leeds at the play of the ball. Unfortunately, the referee was looking for Leeds to do it, to just break off as Leroy Rivet runs some action half, and Leeds really not settled at all there with Mick Shaw losing the ball. I think Leroy Rivet had any idea that was the last tackle, and all Leeds offside, and so Halifax get the penalty, and the game descending rapidly into farce.
Well, I don't know about end of the season. The way it's going at the moment, it might be more referred to as end of the pier stuff. It's not pretty. Halifax are leading 16 points to 12. There's plenty of mistakes. And you said earlier that the Leeds fans aren't following in the numbers they were at one point, but they're certainly making themselves heard, or known to referee Mr. Shaw. As you say, I myself can't recall him doing a Super League game. And I think there's 1 or 2 supporters here who'd like to not see him do another one. Amanga quickly from the acting half position. 4 men bundle him down. Amanga almost over the whitewash. A quick play. Well, appeals for the offside. Mr. Shaw again put on the spot, but he says it was a knock on, and Leeds are on their own line, and there looked to be a little bit of confusion there.
Yes, I don't think Leeds expected to have the ball so quickly. That was good play from Adrian Morley. And now it's Marcus Sendelay just stepping up the gas and coming away from the 20 metres. Shaw spots the gap, goes himself. And Harrison knocking him down. And Marvin Golden's in at acting half. Will he pass the football? He doesn't. He runs himself. Takes play into the Halifax half of the field, so Harrison making no attempt to get away there, and long balls out for Iro from Gavin Brown, but Iro was wrapped up as soon as he got the ball there. Leroy Rivet, inside ball for Gavin Brown. Gavin Brown will look to put the crossfield kick. Hassan's chasing it. He's the only Leeds player that is. He needs to tackle Amone. He hasn't done. Faimalo has just come on the field. Oh, great play from Amone. Leeds all over the place here. Inside ball for the Okoko. Well, Leeds put a kick in there. That was an absolute nothing sort of a kick. Only 1 player bothered to chase. That was Phillisan. He missed the tackle on Hayes in the morning. It was a try as soon as he missed the tackle, but Leeds falling over and in the middle of the field. Great try from Halifax, Gravel.
Well, it started when Amoni got the ball. Hassan missed him. Amoni turned the Leeds defence inside out with skill, and then he used brute force to force his way through the last tackle. Hassan got back well, but Okoko in support to race behind the post. And Leeds falling for the sucker punch before half-time. Okoko going over. Another simple conversion from Schuster in front of the post. An accomplished kicker. Unfortunately, there's one or two before him, but really did show the skills and the brute force with a 60-metre run to set up the try for Okoko, which Schuster puts through the middle to extend the Halifax lead at 22 points to 12. Well, I said it earlier that Leeds have folded on occasions like this. Barry McDermott leaving the field, putting some storming runs for Leeds in the first half up to now. I don't think it's an injury, he's just been rested by Dean Bell, perhaps to get his second win in preparation for the second half.
There's a little bit of inexperience there from the Leeds kicker Gavin Brown. Just was a nothing sort of a kick, and really Leeds had been better taking the scrum on the last tackle. But one thing about these Leeds players, they're quick to be learn what's going on. Jamie Field then, the fielder, really, once Phillips had missed the tackle, that was going to be a try all the way. I seen if Mallow had just come on, not in the pace of the game, and he'd been knocked off, and two Leeds players collided. And Okoko was in support. Mick Shaw runs himself from dummy half. And he's certainly been Carl Harrison's rabbit this afternoon, because every time Mick Shaw's run, Carl Harrison has flattened him with a big tackle. Whether they've always been legal is open to debate. Leeds put the ball in this time for touch, which is perhaps what they should have done before. And Halifax, with about 2 minutes left of this first half, lead by 22 points to 12. And 22 points to 12, Donald, not a really fair reflection of the first half. I thought 16, 14, 12 would have been a fairer reflection on that.
Well, I think it's just down to professionalism and fitness and experience on the part of Halifax. Perhaps Dean Bell could have done with one or two more of the experienced players, Kemp and Mercer. Interesting that, well, I'll say Kevin Iro hasn't had much of an impact on this first half. I don't see him on the field now. Oh, he is there, I beg your pardon. Well, he had a massive impact on Leeds last game here when they won in the Challenge Cup. But Kevin Iro, a tendency to pick his matches, if you like, for his big games, and it doesn't look as though this is going to be one of them. As Jackson leaves Hassan, steps inside, players running onto it. It's going to be Craig Dean for his second. And Leeds would have been hoping that they could have held out until half-time at 22-12. What I said about them folding. But Jackson, there the experience of the second rower. Moana with the first run releases. Leeds didn't clamp him, roll late to White, and Jackson just left Hassan for dead. Had two men in support, three in fact, Brewer, Rowley and Dean. It was Dean who took the pass for his second try to go under just to the left hand side of the post.
Yes, it's looking that way, and certainly it seems as though once one try gets in close to half time, the floodgates open. And really that was a try as soon as Phillips missed the tackle. Schuster converts. 28 points to 12 then as we go into half time. And still the agony of this first half, the last 10 minutes of it or so, have not ended for Leeds. They must feel the ball from the kick-off. There'll be a couple of minutes stoppage time. But really Phillips bought an outrageous dummy there, allowed the man to run on his inside. Gavin Brown again feeds the kick-off, gives it to Leroy Rivet. Rivet just makes it up to the 20 metres before he's brought down. That's the end of the first half. A first half that sees Halifax leading 28 points to 12 thanks to tries from Dean, Yamanga, Bentley, Okoko and Dean, and 4 conversions from Schuster to Leeds. 2 tries to Mike Forshaw with 2 Graham Holroyd conversions. Significant that Leeds haven't scored since the 18th minute, in which time Halifax have scored 4 tries to lead 28 points to 12.
Well, 28 points to 12. It says it all for Halifax. The damage done in the second period of the first half as far as Leeds are concerned. And Halifax running in plenty of points. 16 in fact in that last 20 minutes without reply. We'll be looking to add to the misery of Leeds in the second half. Home form not being so good for Halifax this season, wanting to sign off with a win. And at the moment it looks as though that's the way it may go. Paul Ayton with a short ball off Moana. Pressure from Brown and Forshaw. Baldwin to Schuster against Iro. Iro winning that battle. Bentley inside to Baldwin. Taking up the charge to the Leeds defence on his own. Rowley from acting half spots a gap and makes good yards over halfway. Mick Shaw chased him. Rowley wanted to get up and play it quickly. Well, Mick Shaw not allowing him. So the referee very keen on the whistle. Harrison up towards the Leeds line, making 10 or 11 metres. Rowley to Paul Ayton. And Halifax making it quite easily up to the Leeds 20 with 2 runs. Moana juggling, back to Dean. Brewer away to Schuster. Schuster all wrapped up by Iro and Forshaw. Iro comes up with the ball. 2 men in the tackle. Well, I think 1 man either side there. Perhaps Kevin Iro hadn't realised that Forshaw was on the other side.
Yes, I think that's probably so. I think he wasn't aware of that. He certainly got the ball and ran on, but Leeds have conceded 2 penalties now, and Halifax have had the ball exclusively since the kick-off.
And they'll keep it, hopefully for the next 6 tackles anyway. Paul Ayton, first run in. Back to the 20 again. Rowley, drop off ball to Harrison. And Harrison, drop off ball to the Leeds defence. Well, I said they want to hold it for 6 tackles, wrong again.
Yes, the first half penalties, well, they were 4-5 in favour of Leeds. And the scrums 7-3 in favour of Halifax. But Halifax with the 2 penalties have just taken control in that department as well there. Morley running out wide. Just to knock men off there. Jamie Field turns in the tackle, looks to release the ball. He's well clamped there by Martin Moana. And Rowley. Shaw goes again from dummy half. And this time Carl Harrison leaves him alone. Holroyd. Chip over into space. That's to chase for Leeds. Mike Forshaw offside at the kick. And of the 3 players chasing that football, certainly Mike Forshaw was the one that was offside at the kick. So Forshaw looking for his first hat-trick in Leeds colours.
Well, I certainly took a sharp intake of breath, not for the fact that Forshaw got it, but it looked as though Amanga and Bentley were extremely close together again, and the bounce beat both of them. Unfortunately for Halifax, the referee had seen Mick Forshaw offside, as John Bentley takes up the first run into 3 Leeds forward, so not make much ground there. Moana to Jackson. Jackson through the first. Plenty of pace. Morley wrapping him up and closing him down on halfway. Good tackling. Amona fancies a run on the blind side. And no mistake from Hassan this time. Harrison putting the shoulder down. Terry Newton's seen enough of Carl Harrison releasing the ball to get his arm round and stop him on that occasion. Schuster pops it up brilliantly for Amanga. Iro with a tackle. Bentley on the 5th tackle, running across the face of the Leeds defence. Obviously didn't see the referee put his hand up. He played football with it, but Bentley took his eye off the referee, looked as though he was heading towards the Leeds line, then went across for the support ran into trouble and spilled up the possession.
Yes, and a bit of a 6-1.5 of the other there at the situation. Quickly playing the ball. Gavin Brown has to come over, and it's done well there. Marcus Sunderland ran away from all the Leeds players. And 6 more tackles for Leeds as Philisan was down, and that's going to be a penalty to Leeds. Dropping on, flop. All right then. Spins the ball downfield off his boot, and Leeds have possession now inside the Halifax half of the field. They try and set Leeds up for a good second half. Faimalo just bursting his way through. Shaw in acting half. Quickly finds Jamie Field. One off the ruck pass from Leeds. Field out of the back door. Gavin Brown will do well to get this. He does indeed. He thought that Brown was closer to him than he was. Well, Leeds losing a little bit of ground. All right. That ball's out for Iro. Iro gives it to Rivet. Rivet puts it down. So again, Leeds squandering the chance. Kevin Iro just strolling back to his mark. And Halifax, I think, are looking to make a substitution. It'll be for the blood bin. It says Ramoni that's coming off, and it's like Ferretti Tuilangi that's going to come on. So one South Sea Island for another, and Asia Ramoni's had a big game for Halifax this afternoon.
Well, I think the injury came as a result of Ramoni's attempted one-man demolition when Leeds had the ball on the far side of the field. Jackson dumped to the ground. Paul Lighton running on strongly. Into 3 Leeds defenders again. So despite being 16 points behind, they've not given the game up yet. Moana pops it up nicely for Brewer, and Brewer's round Hilaire. John Brewer, Hilaire sprinting back, but Brewer will get the ball down just as Marcus Hilaire gets to him. Well, I said Leeds have been holding their own, and they haven't given up the fight. They may do now. Great play from Brewer, out sprinting the Leeds defence. He turned Hilaire inside out. Hilaire tried valiantly with his pace to get back, but only managed to get to John Brewer, who was putting the ball down over the line and increasing the Halifax score to 32 points to 12. Well, Leeds' best attack of the second half ended in disappointment as the pass went to ground, and Halifax willing to capitalise again. Perhaps a little bit of an experience on the part of Rivet. Schuster no problem with the conversion, and as I was saying before, Iro tends to pick his matches. The pass to Rivet was a good one. It's really the first thing of note that Kevin Iro's done this afternoon, but again, just that little bit of inexperience letting Leeds down when they really needed it.
Yes, and Leeds have paid daily from the subsequent scrum. Find themselves 34 points to 12 now. So Manga gets the game restarted, and Morley allows the ball to bounce. To Newton. There's one youngster who certainly won't throw the towel in for Leeds this afternoon, not that any of them will. Mick Shaw finds Faimalo, and Faimalo just taking down Newton, injured in the tackle. Morley slipped there, and the ironic cheers from the Halifax contingent behind the post. Shaw goes from acting halfback, and Harrison just takes his big lazy lumbering frame off of Shaw, but just enough to slow the play the ball down without incurring the wrath of the referee. Umanga then fields the ball behind his own line, runs it out.
Manga bringing it out safely. Leroy Rivet wants to hang on to him a little bit, and now to Alange, pair of fresh legs, and certainly showing good pressure relieving run from Tuilangi. Bentley up the middle of the field, coming looking for the possession. He's not getting much service out on the wings this afternoon, just the one try in the first half, and one for Abiyakoku. who started that run in the centre of the field. Brewer with the dummy, Aiton on his outside, but Brewer done enough to make 25 metres, plays it very quickly, and Rowley slips it to Dean after making more impressive yards for Halifax to put them back in the Leeds quarter. Rowley inside, but Allroyd there for the interception, and then hammered to the ground with a superb tackle by Twilange.
It's a good tackle from Allroyd there. I think he was as surprised as anyone when he had the ball in his hands. Brown then will find Matt Schultz, first touch of the ball from me, just come on and substitute, gets Eiler away, Eiler gets the ball to Rivet, and Rivet's knocked the ball on there. And head and ball to Halifax. Nairo, really no need to pass at that stage of the game.
Halifax win the scrum again. Schuster, the step inside, gives it to Twilange. Twilange, a race with Hassan. Hassan wins the battle. Played very quickly, but there's a Leeds player in an offside position. And he's not going to take any further part for the next 10 minutes. It looks like Adrian Morley will be leaving the field. Halifax trying to capitalise with a very quick play. Morley in an offside position. Well, he's now going to be in an off the field position for the next 10 minutes. Inexperience again on the part of Leeds. Touch of panic perhaps by Morley, but Halifax now with a man advantage will perhaps increase their score. Bentley, Rivet sticking to him like glue, bringing him down, and Halifax looking to put an extra bit of speed in the play of the ball now with the extra man advantage and a big lead. Bentley turns it back inside, it goes backwards. Amanga off towards the Leeds post, taking 3 defenders with him, brought down 3 metres short, rolling from acting half. Paul Aiton picks it up. Well, referee calling a knock on, it looked to go backwards. Carl Harrison just telling his troops to calm it down a little bit. Sensibly, they've a man advantage, and Halifax should make it pay against an inexperienced Leeds side, but Leeds come up with it from the scrum.
Oh, big defence there from Rowley on Matt Schultz. Allroyd in acting half-back finds Field. Field shrugs men off, that's good driving from Jamie Field. Marvin Golden looking for a way through this Halifax defence, beats the first man. The cover coming across and wrapping him up and knocking him down. And the Halifax fans under the shed just singing now the praises. And then we're taking on Marcus Sinclair. And gets over in the corner for the try. Leeds drop ball from Kevin Ayo. Ayo throwing the ball out of the tackle, guilty of throwing the ball out of the tackle, and there's absolutely nothing on for Leeds. And Sinclair not having the strength to bump John Bentley over in the corner. So Halifax again scoring a try. 14 minutes into this second half. And Bentley over for his second try. And suddenly it's all looking very easy for Halifax. But most of Halifax tries, Darrell, have come from Leeds mistakes.
Hilaire tried in vain, couldn't force him over, but Bentley made his way for his second try. Halifax lead increases, 38 points to 12. Schuster from the touchline again, found it this time right through the middle. Glorious kick from John Schuster, it sends Halifax lead, they reach the 40-point mark. And it looks as though now they're on the way to a big score. Well, any team knows it's hard enough to defend with 12 men, with 13 men. But when you've 12 men and you're making mistakes as well, any team, no matter who they are, whether they're top or bottom, will punish any mistakes and take any gifts that are given to them.
And suddenly the tackles are coming in big and hard and fierce from Halifax now. And Martin Moana hitting hard. Barry McDermott back on the field for Jamie Field as Leeds bring in the changes. Holroyd finds Gavin Brown. Brown's inside ball is for Schultz. Schultz back to Holroyd. Holroyd running himself, stepping. Good tackle there from the man who was on the floor, which is Paul Heighton. Shaw goes from dummy half. Takes play into Halifax half of the field. Holroyd's kick is down into that corner for a Koku to chest the ball down, football style. His brother, of course, played professional football for Norwich City and chested it down.
Manga, tap of the ankle. Halifax want to play it quickly. Rowley couldn't, with the Leeds player in the way. And Simon Baldwin taking a rest to be replaced by David Bastian. Second appearance for the youngster, came through the academy side. Brewer throws the dummy inside to Bastian, and his first touch might bring glory. He's setting Schuster on his way. Schuster to Dean. Dean to Bentley for the hat-trick. Well, John Bentley gesticulating to the crowd again. But David Bastian's first touch to the ball. Brewer initially with a slip, and Bastian set up Schuster. And men in support again. Dean involved, as he always seemed to be this afternoon. And a stroll over for Bentley to move the Halifax score along to 44-12.
Just likes to rub it in, does John Bentley, that he was shown the door at Leeds by Dougie Lawton. And, cost Halifax to try early doors, but it's come back well there. And one of the nice blokes of rugby league, John Bentley. And they're just having a chat to the crowd as Schuster comes up with a kick. And it's 46 points to 12 now. Needs a ball, Matt Schultz runs out. Stepping down the middle of the field. By Marlow. And Adrian Morley still back on the field from his sin minute. Here comes Barry McDermott now, running across the halfway line. Quick play of the ball. Holroyd finds Gavin Brown. Brown running himself. That's going to be a penalty. All offside, and the ironic cheers from the Leeds supporters there will tell you that Halifax have been offside all the time. Well, really, I think there should be a sin bin in there. The Halifax players have made no attempt to get back on side and tackle the player. Iro then looks to get outside. Can't get the ball away this time to Rivet. So Rivet now comes in himself, heading for the line. Can he get the ball down? He's pushed back, he's some meter short. Good strength from Leroy Rivet. Showing it, acting half-back. And loses the ball, acting half-back, not quick enough at the play of the ball. And just throws the ball down, and that just about sums up Leeds' afternoon, Devil.
Well, yeah, it's a bit unfortunate. Leroy Rivet was in the position he was. He's not the biggest man on the field. Plenty of speed, but when you're that close to the line, you're always going to come up against 3 or 4 men, and it's difficult for a small man like Rivet with the speed and not the physical power to force his way over. So Halifax will bring it away again with Michael Jackson, and Jackson gets it back to Amanga. Amanga pops it up for Paul Heighton inside to Okoku, and Okoku will run straight. Halifax keep it alive. Paul Heighton involved again. Out to Dean. Dean with Iro. Away to Moana. And Moana from 20 metres. Iro will have another go, but Moana will get there. And it really was champagne rugby. Halifax keeping the ball alive when it looked as though the tackle had been made. Moana with a big smile says it all. Brewer set up the move. Okoku looked as though it was dead, popped it up. Paul Heighton to Craig Dean. Dean taking it on. I had a go at Dean at first and then managed to get back to have a go at Moana, but it was just too late. Moana over the line. And it's a credit to the youngsters who have turned out for Dean Bell. He's had a very difficult time in his first season in charge at Headingley with Hugh McGann. But I'm sure the youngsters on the Leeds side can only benefit from the experience. It's been a long hard road for the last 12 months or so, just that 4-week break in between, and I'm sure that when the second season of the Super League gets underway next season, a lot of these players will have had a full 5 or 6 months to prepare, and they're going to come back fitter and stronger and perhaps more wiser.
Yes, and Leeds will no doubt be looking to strengthen during the close season. And Gavin Brown. Is Adrian Morley, Holroyd being substituted for Paddy Handley. Mike Forshaw just running the ball forward. It's another happy running ground for Graham Holroyd as he comes off the field. Take his place on the Leeds bench. And he's seen Marlow just knocks off one man. It's Ferretti to Ilangi, but Koko bringing him down, and Gavin Brown's in at first receiver. Oh, good run from Barry McDermott, charging forward. It's got Paddy Handley in support, who's just come on the field, but he couldn't get the ball away. Nick Shaw still not made it to dummy half. Gavin Brown looking the ball up the hillside, Mike Forshaw. Gavin Brown again, that's out to Leroy Rivet. Rivet dancing with the football. Cleaned out there by Schuster, that's the last tackle. So Halifax will play the ball in their own quarter. Back marker defence allowing the Manga to come up to the 20 metres.
Well, Halifax players making a few more yards with each run of the ball. They'll make a few more now with a kick. It's going to be a penalty. Barry McDermott subjecting John Bentley to a bit of the rough stuff. Halifax giving the penalty. Paul Rowley perhaps looking for Simon Baldwin to kick to touch. Well, he's been off the field for the last 7 or 8 minutes. So Amanga does the kicking and Bentley does the running into the Leeds half with the first of this set of 6. Rowley to Anderson, putting the shoulder down. Good tackle by Forshaw. Schultz there as well. Dean to Brewer. Another good tackle on Brewer. Morley. And Brewer's felt the full force of that to Ilangi. Out to Rowley. Bastian to Schuster. Schuster steps inside into Iro and Forshaw. Amanga running 30 metres up the field, screaming for the pass and having to stop. Takes the run up eventually, the 5th tackle, Rowley. Bentley wants it, the kick against Rivet. Wasn't played by the Leeds man, it came off him. Well, Halifax supporters don't agree with it, but Rivet didn't actually play up the ball. It was the deflection off the kick, so Leeds quite rightly with the possession at the scrum.
Because that's a new rule, I don't think a lot of supporters are aware of that. Amazing sitting in the stand just how little people do know about the rules of the game. But Leeds have got the scrum, they're 5th of the game. And it's Marcus Sinelai just moving forward with the football, steps out of a couple of tackles, going himself. Shaw in acting halfback will take the ball forward, makes 7-8 metres before he's brought down by Paul Heighton, who's had a big game for Halifax this afternoon. Brown using the short side, using Sinifai Marlow. Can't get out of the tackle there. Good defence from Tuilangi. Hanley looking for the run around with Gavin Brown. Inside ball dropped off for Matt Schultz. Out of the back door there for Phil Hassan. That's better play from Leeds. Hassan cutting through, trying to go himself. Back to his kid, did all Halifax defence. And he's over for a try, and really, if that had been to win the game, that was some pretty poor Halifax defence there.
Well, I think at this stage of the game, Halifax perhaps seeing the points are there, but you should play for the 20 minutes. You're paid to play for 80 minutes. That's what you should do. But all credit to Hassan, and came up with the 4 points for Leeds. Perhaps only a consolation. It looked in the early part of the second half as though they were going to stick to the task. But a combination of Leeds' mistake and some mesmerising rugby by Halifax. I've had 24 points to their half-time score. And Phil Hassan with the first score of the half for Leeds. And as you would expect, Allride obliges with the conversion from in front of the post. Well, it wasn't. It was Gavin Brown, I'm informed. Well, however, it's another 2 points. It's perhaps a late consolation. 12 minutes to go. 52-18. I think it's the 4th time that Halifax have managed to reach the 50-point mark this season. They did it against Workington and Paris at Tramall, and blitzed the London Broncos at the Valley, and they've done it against a weakened Leeds side. Schuster slips away from Iro. Well, Schuster went 80 minutes, 80 yards last week at Odsal. He's going to do the same again this week at Tramall. The shoulder charge from Hilaire. Superb tackle, brilliant run by Schuster. Well, Kevin Iro, you would have expected to put Schuster down, and that the good and bad in Iro this afternoon. We've seen a little slip passes, but it was Schuster slipping past Iro and off towards the line, but Marcus Hilaire wasn't in the picture until very late and managed to push Schuster over the touchline. Well, I think Kevin Iro ought to be looking to put his hand in his pocket and buy Marcus St Hilaire a drink this evening for saving him that bit of embarrassment, and Rivet finding a bit of space this time for Leeds and putting him back in a good position.
He's got the penalty. All Halifax players offside. Surprised, I think, by Leroy Rivet's break. Leeds with Barry McDermott just straightening play up, trying to knock his way through men. A good chance for Leeds if they can get the ball out on the right hand side, and would you believe it, McShaw's gone scampering, he's over for the try. Well, it wasn't the right decision, but he's got over for the try. Leeds had a 4-man to 2 overlap on that far side, but Shaw's managed to go over for the try, scampered on his hands and knees. And I think we're going to have a different kicker this time. I think it's going to be, in fact it's going to be Gavin Brown. Paddy Hanley just bringing the ball back for him. It's a regular for the Leeds Academy side over the last few years. The Leeds supporters having a little bit to cheer about. It's all academic. But when you're losing 52-18, it's much better to be losing 52 points to 22. So Gavin Brown then settles it down. Comes in now, hits it right footed, high spinning, converts. And Leeds are trailing now 24 points to 52. So Leeds will be kicking off again with Paddy Hanley.
Well, too little too late for Leeds now. Halifax perhaps taking the foot off the gas a bit. Jackson with a return from Amanga's pass. Dean to Okoku. Anderson expecting that one. Okoku inside looking for a little more work. Bastian. Swamped by 3. Looked around originally to get the pass out. Paul Anderson, shoulder down, up to halfway. Moana, drop off ball to Amanga. Amanga running into trouble, put down eventually by McDermott. Rowlett, 5th tackle. Dean with the kick towards Golden. Well, Rubik got away with it early by not playing at the ball, but no doubt about Golden playing at that one. Always awkward to take, but it was up around the chest area. Golden should have been able to pick that one out of the air. But it'll give Leeds 6 more tackles. And Halifax set up again with Moana dropping off the back of the scrum. Heading towards those Leeds posts. It takes 3 to stop him 5 metres out. Looking for the quick play. Amone with 5 metres out. Signals to the crowd. There was a huge gap in the Leeds defence for Asa Amone. Moana went close. Amone looked up. And the Leeds defenders just hadn't covered the gaps. And a quick reply for Halifax to show that the perhaps foot only half off the pedal.
And Schuster will look to convert the try, and if he does, it'll put Halifax 58 points to 24 in the lead. Been a great second half performance from Halifax. Schuster duly converts. 6 tries in his second half to go with the 5. 5 tries in his second half, should I say, couldn't count then. So Leeds will be looking to run the football out. Kevin Brown finds Adrian Morley. Morley ploughing downfield. Shaw's in at half back. And that was Carl Haddison. He did his job exactly what he should have done there. He so interfered with the play from Adrian Morley. Was trying to play the football with Carl Haddison astride of him. Morley kicked the football forward, and that's not allowed.
Halifax on the attack again. Amanga. Iro manages to get hold of it. Sousa pops it up for Amanga. Inside for Bentley. It's going to be 4 for John Bentley. Straight from the scrum. And Schuster almost lost Iro again. He managed to get hold of him, did Iro. But Schuster slipped the ball out. And Bentley in for his 4-5 minutes ago. And if he gets another one, he could be up there in the record books with Jason Robinson and Mike Amanga. Schuster to make it 64. No problem again for John Schuster. 64 to 24. Well, Leeds will bring it out again, but Iro, ineffective tackle on Schuster. He didn't get hold of him, but Schuster managed to get the pass away, and Leeds find themselves bringing the ball back out again.
Yes, they've certainly paid dearly for any mistakes. Barry McDermott just driving forward. Handley out to Gavin Brown. Gavin Brown going himself through the gap. Brown picked up there by Schuster. Schuster gives it to Iro. Well, heading ball to Leeds. Strange decision there. Leeds certainly took advantage of the mistake by Halifax. The referees decided that Iro can't go on the rampage. Still, Leeds will settle for taking the scrum. Brown feeds the ball out quickly. Ryro gives the ball to Paddy Hanley, who's in support, and Hanley. Oh, and a fist coming in there from Bentley. Yes, and that Nick Shaw quickly in there. But Bentley, no reason at all to go with a fist, and he's in again there. And really be looking to stay on the field this time with John Bentley. Came running in there to thump somebody. 4 tries, and then he goes and does something stupid. Well, that's John Bentley. Just making an absolute fool of himself. Leeds get the penalty, and really Bentley deserves certainly more than just a penalty against him. It was just a nasty assault there on a player who'd been tackled already. And I can't understand John Bentley why he does that, because a man with all the skills regularly lets himself down. Leeds will certainly get the penalty. Well, would you believe it? Nick Shaw goes to the sin bin. And I think John Bentley as well. For 4 tries, he'll be getting winning pay. And really, John Bentley just behaving like an absolute imbecile down on the touchline side. And perhaps the Rugby League would like to have a look at that. So Leeds get the penalty. Matty McDermott just taps the football, drives it forward himself. Leeds at 6s and 7s without a hooker. There goes a holder, mercifully. Things that came down on the Leeds gear on the season. And the stupid thing for John Bentley to do at the end of the game. Still Leeds trailed by 24 points to 64. They've lost the game. Halifax, great second half. Tries to Brewer, 3 to Bentley, Moana and Amoni. Schuster converted everyone from Leeds. 2 tries to Hassan and Shaw, both converted by Gavin Brown. So a long hard season for Leeds. And Donald, great victory for Halifax, said he'll seal on a good season for them.
Well, it started off slow enough, but it's finished on a high note. Leeds weakened without the more experienced players. They played valiantly for the first 20 minutes and a brief spell in the second half. But Halifax were in total control after those first 20 minutes. And the second half saw them at 36 points to that first half score. In style, a lot of mistakes from Leeds, but Halifax have played some scintillating rugby. All friends after the match. Leeds support, Leeds players and supporters on the field. They've had to put up with a lot this season, both sets of supporters. Both teams having it a little rough. Halifax with the early season defeats by 2, 4 and 6 points. It's cost them dear in the running. That could have been the difference between a top 4 place. Nobody moving from the scratching shed. And Halifax, worthy winners on the final appearance of the season at Pramall. Winning in style by 64 points to 24.